Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In this video I will feature Maria Zakharova, who is the spokeswoman of the Russian Federation's foreign ministry, a very intelligent person and very ballsy, very fast, very quick, calling out the Prime Minister of Great Britain, Maharishi Sunak, appointed Prime Minister of Great Britain, calling him a liar basically. Why? And she's going to tell us what he said and what the reality, according to Maria Zakharova, is. And I subscribe to her representation of reality because I pay attention and I memorize things. And then I make a pattern and you realize who's who, what's what. And I will also tell you who Maria Zakharova is as education. It's very important, and from what family she comes. Why? I always like to look at that. I knew, but I just want to share it with you in case you did not know that she's a very smart and coming from a family of diplomats, Soviet diplomats in China. All right, so let's start with the article from May 14th, 2024 from Russia Today. Moscow slams UK's desperate lies. Now remember, we have here Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, Maharishi, has accused Russia of attempting, and I'm quoting, a nuclear escalation and cutting off gas supplies to the West. So this is what Maharishi claimed, and she's going to eloquently explain what exactly this guy said. Now, Great Britain, as we know, is one of the countries, most of the time there's two, maybe three countries in the world that allow themselves to criticize everybody else's governments, societies, values, traditions, political system, whatever they fit, because they are on the side of the good. That is United States of America, which is 98% of the times, or 99%, and then in that 1% you have Great Britain, who lectures other countries about democracy, and then you have Germany, sometimes France and Great Britain in that 1%. Now, let me show you a little bit tell you how this democratic country of Great Britain functions. They have like this: the king is hereditary, not voted for. No democracy right there. Now you have the prime minister. Prime minister is appointed again. No democracy there. Then you have what? Foreign minister, like everybody else, appointed. Defense minister, like everybody else, appointed. And then you have what? The House of Lords. Are they appointed? How is that? They're elected? They're not elected. And then they're like the Senate. They have the ultimate voice. And then you have the House of Commons, right? Where you have George Galloway fighting with those imbeciles over there. Right? Those are the elected, with not too much power. Now, how is this system operating in Great Britain? The winner takes it all, like ABBA song. The winner takes it all, exactly. So it's not like, for instance, in other countries when you go and vote, according to the percentages, you have people in that little governance. No. If I have the majority more than everybody else, I won, I take all the seats. I don't share, which that's their system. I think it's less democratic than everybody else, but hey, they're lecturing everybody. So you know how this system in a nutshell works. I know there's details, but you got unelected king, unelected prime minister. It's elected from the party who won is it voted by the people? No. All right. So anyway, so let's go back to Maria Zakharova. Let's see who Maria Zakharova is. I would like to introduce her to you. Her name is Maria Vladimirovna Zakharova. So, born in December 24th, 1975, is a Russian politician who serves as the Director of Information and Press Department. She studied the West very well. She knows what to do. Of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation. She has been a spokeswoman for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Russian Federation since 2015. I hope she's going to replace, what's his name, Lavrov, as Foreign Minister of the Russian Federation. She has a degree of candidate in historical sciences, the Russian equivalent to a PhD, a doctor. All right, now she has a diploma for journalism, Moscow State Institute. Zakharova was born to a family of diplomats on 24th of December. Her father, Vladimir Zakharov, moved the family to Beijing in 1981. When he was appointed to the Soviet embassy there. The family left Beijing for Moscow in 1993, 2 years after Pop. Her mother, Irina Zakharova, is an art historian who has worked at Moscow's Pushkin Museum. Okay, so there she is. I like her very much. Very good, very intelligent, very fast, as I said, and I think good looking and classy in a certain way. Go and watch her dance. All right, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is brazenly deceiving the public by accusing Moscow of trying to bring about nuclear escalation and weaponizing its energy resources to suffocate the West, she said. On Monday, Sunak warned Western nations, he just warned, I think it's a lie, at a meeting at the Policy Exchange think tank that if Russia succeeds in Ukraine, they, the Russians, and I'm going, no, they, the weasels, they might be next. I mean, Jesus Christ might come tomorrow, if we just judge by might and could and possibly and shit. He further accused Moscow of, and I'm quoting, recklessness, claiming that it has taken us closer to a dangerous nuclear escalation than at any point since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Well, I don't think it was the Russians escalating. I think it was you who escalates each and every time, and the Russians updated and met you in the instead of just escalating. Well, they invaded unprovoked. I don't think it was unprovoked whatsoever. What I mean, from your angle, because that's your narrative, but I don't think it is. I mean, you kill the Russians in Ukraine, and what do you expect with the military? That's one example. There's many others. Move NATO next to Russia. Are you crazy? Russia should not have any interest. Nothing. No. But only you. All right. So that's another thing. And then I say, well, that closer. Who inserted you in the equation? You. It was not Russia who invited you come over and bring weapons, give money, and have all this, troops over there in Ukraine. No, and generals planning the new offensives and all this. Who? Russia invited, or you just invited yourself? You invited yourself, which each self-invitation, you just escalated the thing. The same thing, for instance, you did the same thing in the Second World War. I'm not defending those guys over there, but it was between two countries, Germany and Poland. Why? They couldn't figure out the Danzig corridor. Why? Because those guys, I think, were just, negotiating in bad faith. What? Because they have an alliance with Great Britain and France. In case that bad guy invades us for Danzig, you intervene. Yeah, we intervene. It would have been one-on-one. You can say, well, he already proved in Czechoslovakia. Whoa. Czechoslovakia, also Poland came and took part of Czechoslovakia as well, in the north. So they did the same thing that the Germans did with the Soviets to the Poles. Good job. And what the Poles, I predict, will do with the Ukrainians, with the Russians. They will meet in the middle in Ukraine to defend and protect. So let's go back to these guys here. So I don't think it's just these guys took reckless. Reckless would have meant, for me at least, in March, end of March or early April 2022, the Russians, if they would have been reckless and madman and crazy, they would have used nuclear weapons by now, and everything would have been either all dead or no more dead, these guys anymore. They prolonged 2 years all this garbage in Ukraine. I'm not saying that we should have stopped it, even though the Americans are still hailing the 2 atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to civilian cities, mind you. Civilians, right? We shortened the war and we saved our boys' lives. Can the Russians use the same justification and reasoning? Oh, no. The Russians, if they drop 1, 2, 3 bombs on something, and that's it, you guys are gonna surrender unconditionally, and that's it, the war stopped. No more refugees, no more Ukrainian dead, no more Russian dead, no? That's why that war crime, it's unjustifiable, mainly. What do you want? How will you turn it? So let's see what Zakharova says. So here you have. The British Prime Minister also accused Moscow of cutting off gas supplies to the West. This move, he claimed, and I'm going to had a devastating impact on people's lives and threatened our energy security. So these guys are pointing out to Putin at every corner when actually it's they who enters in this garbage and they shot themselves in their feet with their own sanctions. And he says here, Sunak also claimed that countries like Russia were attempting to weaponize immigration to achieve their goals. No, it's your internal idiotic policy ordered by these guys to fuck your culture, all right? And that's what it is. And you have these guys that are traitors to a certain extent, that you got all those guys. Not Putin sent all those guys to you. And maybe your actions in certain places on this planet had the immigration. And remember, look where Great Britain is, and all that immigration to arrive to Great Britain, he has to cross over Europe. What are you talking about? And who inflicted that on you? Imbecile liberals with their friends who want to fuck your culture. Let's move on. And your nations. Zakharova fired back at this allegation, saying, so this is what Zakharova smacks this imbecile. And I'm quoting, Sunak's lies are so desperate that one could even feel sorry for him. I think so. He's a tart. But hey, sometimes you have to, in your opinion, you have to, not in your opinion, you always manufacture or you shape, you give the flavor of the audience. So Sunak is not addressing you or addressing me or, not intelligent, but educated, intelligent British people. He's with the baboons. That's what he's doing. So yeah, we can clearly see that's garbage, but he's not, that doesn't want to convince you or I or Zakharova. No, he has his base, those guys. And always think, who's we? We will be attacked. It's going to be you, Shaps and others, but not the English person or the Irish or the Scot or the Welsh. Maybe some other groups over there, but not like that. So when we say we are under attack, but they did everything for us. Why? I mean, that's how democracy is, a democratic system of representation. Really, I mean, let's don't turn full retard here. So let's see what else Zakharova says. She dismissed accusations of nuclear escalation, noting that it was Ukraine engaged in the shelling of Russia's Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, the largest facility of its kind in Europe. Now remember, whenever you hear that the Russians are shelling their own power plant that they took over from the Ukrainians, that's imbecilic. So I take over your house, and they say that house actually is my house, and then I shoot inside, I burn my rooms, but I'm still fighting with you. And you're not shelling your house trying to get me out of that. That's garbage. It's the Ukrainians, NATO, bombarding the Russians, trying to create a problem over there. Why would the Russians do that? Well, Emil, sometimes there are some false flag operations. I understand that too. But logically, let's start with the main scenario and then go to the alternate scenarios here, okay, or theories. That's how you do it. Alternative hypothesis, it's called. Referring to the energy crisis, the spokeswoman noted that, and I'm quoting, Russia did not stop gas supplies even for a second, recording that it was the US, along with several other NATO countries, that had banned Russian energy imports. And they have been pressuring the European Union to do the same. The bloc, however, still imports Russian gas, although it's seeking to completely phase it out by 2027. This is these guys, it's not the Russians. According to Zakharova, Sunak's main lie, end quote, was that Russia has stopped its energy deliveries. She said that despite an explosion at the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline in 2022, one of its conduits main operational, so it's still operational, one pipeline, but has been closed by the West due to political pressure from Washington. Prior to Nord Stream sabotage, Zakharova said the US had publicly threatened to destroy the pipeline, while the UN Security Council refused to support calls for an international investigation due to the stance of Western countries. I don't want to find out who did it. I don't want you to find out who did it. She also rejected accusations related to immigration crisis, noting that it was the West that had orchestrated violent conflicts in Libya and Middle East in recent years, triggering an exodus of refugees. The West, she said, was also directly responsible for the coup in Kiev that led to civil war and several waves of refugees from Ukraine. End quote. You don't have to accept, remember, the refugees, by international law, you don't have to. You're not obliged to, let's say it's Romania, and there's refugees from Ukraine. Let's say Romania now I think it's about 17 million from 33 million, 24 million. So let's say it's 17 million. And let's say from 40 3 million Ukrainians, let's say 20 millions are refugees going to Romania. Romania being bordering Ukraine would be the first country where the refugees can claim refugee status. But you can't accept 20 million. You can potentially have them over there. And why would you? But remember, refugee is just one who crosses the border to the bordering country. A guy who flies from, I don't know, from Kiev as a refugee to Berlin, that's not a refugee. You can't be a refugee. Only the bordering country, which is Belarus, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Moldova, and Russia. These are the countries that these guys are bordering. I don't know if you cross the Black Sea, you would consider Bulgaria and Georgia and Turkey as, I don't know if it's the body of mass, because if you do like this, the guys in the Middle East, they can consider Mediterranean Sea. The Mediterranean Sea, they go through, cross into the Atlantic Ocean, and then they go to where? To the United States of America, wherever they want, on a body of water. So I don't think it's so. So nevertheless, and the immigration is your policy, the country's policy. If the hordes of immigrants come at your, not immigrants, trying to push in, it's a difference between an immigrant now and what it's a illegal immigrant, and it's illegal. Legal with paper, coming with paper, well, that illegal is a guy who doesn't come with paper, just breaks in and tries to remain here or something like that. Now, can you stop them? Yeah, you can stop them. You can stop them physically. You can stop them with deterrent, but you have to prove physically that you can fuck them up. That border crisis at the southern border of the US could be solved in 2 hours. If you physically do certain things that you can do, considering it an invasion, those guys you will, how should I put it, limit it, destroy it from 100%, not even to 1%, that will try to cross the border anymore, because they know the consequences. But if you're not consistent, and you know those guys are waiting for you over there to give you water, blankets, and send you in the interior, why wouldn't you do it? I would do it 100%. I would do it. Why? People are desperate. But they don't know. They come here and work like slaves. But it's okay. It's voluntary enslavement. We all want it, and if you don't want, don't do it. And then you come here and you bash America. No, you see what garbage these guys turn this country in, and you say, wait a minute, this is not what I've been told. They were like this, it's better. And this is not what they are saying they are about. And I hate doing that. I hate, seeing all this garbage, because every time I see something, I'm trying to make it better. I try to, okay, what can we do? Like the southern border. I told you what can be done. 2 hours. Appoint me over there and allow me to follow the law. I don't have to do anything else. The Constitution and all that. So nevertheless, to get to Great Britain from, let's say, the Middle East, they have to cross Europe. Or how are they going to come? Why were they allowed to set foot over the Mediterranean, let's say in Mediterranean countries in Europe? Why? That would not have happened with me whatsoever. I would take some, but I have a limit based on my personal interest, national interest. That would be the first thing. So yeah, Makarova, yeah. Makarov, Makarov, the pistol. The Russian Soviet, pistol. Anyway, Makarov it was called. Very strong, powerful. Boom. All right, so I think she's right. She smacks the weasel, the democratically elected Sunak. Well, you can say, well, Zakharova is not, but she's smart. You can, well, he's smart, he's got money. I know Gigi Becali, if Romanians are familiar with him, has a lot of money, and other people have a lot of money. It doesn't mean necessarily that you are, how should I put it, intelligent, or you have knowledge, or you're wise. Yeah, you know certain things over there. It worked. You give the right bribes, you kiss the right ass, and so on. But as an individual, other things like class also come into play. Upbringing. Not only, I have a diploma and I have money, or I don't have a diploma and I have money. If you want to look at people like that, it's fine. That's why we have all this garbage in the Romanian parliament and in the governance. Or the Americans the same way. Yeah, they're all educated and good and fine. But when they open their mouth, you realize they're garbage. They're either incompetent or they're just pigs. Not pigs. I insulted the pigs. No, weasels. Weasels is nicer. The same with Sunak. He's a weasel. He didn't prove to me yet with his statements that he's intelligent. He didn't. Why? The way he formulates his statements makes his point. Macron is sneaky. Macron is smarter than everybody else in Europe, if you include Great Britain in Europe and United States of America. He's the smartest guy in the Western bloc. I'm talking about the Western Europe, not Eastern Europe, and I'm not involving others, or Central Europe. He is. All right, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.